Good morning. What? Why did you come early? What are you doing? I was helping with the cleaning so that everyone can work comfortably. We have cleaners. But I think it's important to feel like I'm also taking care of this hospital since I use it too. Hmm. Just so you know, trying to get on our good side by doing janitor work won't earn you any points. It's not that easy to get recognized by the people working here. I became a research doctor at the request of Professor Johnson. However, one of the nurses, Jessica, didn't like me and would often berate me. But aside from her, my daily actions were appreciated by others, and I gradually started to gain recognition. Even though my research results weren't that impressive yet and I could have been criticized, I often got praised for working hard every day. And since I was still young, the older staff would take a liking to me. Then one day, "Hey, are you free next Saturday? Some of the nurses are planning a mixer, and we were wondering if you'd like to join." My senior colleague, Emily, invited me. What? A mixer? Yeah, they said they're bringing some girls, so we need to bring 3 guys. What do you think? Well, I've never been to a mixer before, so I'm not sure if I can handle it. It's not a serious mixer, so don't worry too much. Besides, you hardly get a chance to meet girls with all your work, right? We're medical professionals, so we'll be popular. Just think of it as a casual party with some new people. Ah, okay. To be honest, I had never had a girlfriend and had always been focused on studying. I had never talked to girls much, let alone gone to a mixer. I was extremely nervous, but I didn't have the courage to refuse Emily's invitation. Emily asked me in the morning, but I couldn't concentrate on work at all that day, and by the evening, I was still nervous. We headed to the venue together, and I'm sure she could tell how anxious I was. Emily reassured me, and when we arrived at the place, "Emily, this is the guy you brought?" "Sure, he's somewhat good looking, but isn't there anyone better you could have brought?" "Well, it's not that serious of a mixer. I thought it would be nice to give him a chance to talk to some girls since he works so hard." I expected this kind of reaction. And so the mixer began. After the introductions, I struggled to initiate conversation, but thanks to Emily and the others, the mixer was lively. As I started to relax and enjoy myself a bit, ah! A scream from a waiter echoed through the restaurant, and the place fell silent. I looked towards the waiter and saw a middle-aged man collapsed and foaming at the mouth. "Someone call an ambulance immediately. And bring some water, please. Hurry." I usually don't shout, but getting people to snap out of their panic requires a loud voice. Startled by my shout, the waiter quickly called the ambulance and brought the water. I had no idea what was wrong, but I adjusted his position, checked his pulse, and provided basic first aid. "Is there anything we can do?" "Check if he has any companions here and look through his belongings. He might have a medical condition, and that will change how we treat him." "Oh, okay. My name is Chris, and I currently work as a research doctor at a university hospital. I started working at this hospital 3 years ago, after being headhunted from the hospital I was previously employed at. If you feel a strong attachment to your current hospital, I won't force you. But I've been a professor for many years. And I see tremendous potential in you. Of course, it's wonderful to help those in need now. But working as a research doctor could also be a path for your future." That's what Professor Johnson said to me. I'm truly honored by your words. However, I have many memories at my current hospital, and I haven't fully sorted out my feelings yet. I'm still undecided. Like I said, I won't force you. Take your time to think it over and get back to me when you're ready. Of course. Being recruited by a university hospital is indeed a great honor. It meant that my abilities as a doctor were recognized. I should have been proud, and I was, but there were reasons why I couldn't easily move. This goes back about 15 years, to when I was a child. I lost my father when I was young and was raised by my mother in a single-parent household. I was deeply grateful to my mother, and I believed that it was because of her that I became the person I am today. However, my mother also passed away when I was in middle school. She had a chronic illness that worsened, but she never showed how sick she really was in front of me. She suddenly collapsed one day, and despite being rushed to the hospital, it was too late. she passed away a month later. My mother was everything to me, and her presence had been my support. I wasn't a particularly strong person mentally, and losing her plunged me into despair. I spent my days not going to school and not talking to anyone. I was taken in by my mother's relatives and raised by them, but I always had my mother in my heart. My life felt empty until I graduated middle school. However, things changed when I entered high school and met a friend who changed my life. Your grades in the last midterm were amazing. How do you study? I don't do anything special. I just review what I learned in class and make sure I understand it. Then I review for about 10 minutes after I get home. Just that. You're a natural genius, Chris. I knew I was good at studying compared to others, but I never considered myself a genius. In fact, although my scores were higher, I admired his hard work and dedication. He once told me he didn't join any clubs to focus on his studies. He probably wanted to get into a good college, but I wondered what his motivation was. At first, it wasn't that great, so I was always curious. You're working so hard on your studies, what are your goals? I want to become a lawyer. My father almost got scammed once, but a lawyer helped us out. We couldn't afford to pay him. But he said helping people was his mission. Since then, I've wanted to become a lawyer to help people. Wonderful. I didn't say it out loud, but I truly felt that way deep down. Even though he's still a student, I was honestly envious of having such a clear vision for the future. I had lost my mother and lived without any purpose or energy. I was good at studying and thought getting good grades might help my future, but that was it. His influence made me start thinking about my own future. My strength was studying. I thought about how I could use my academic abilities to make a difference. My mother's memory came to mind. If I had medical knowledge, I might have noticed her condition earlier. I wanted to reduce the number of people who, like me, lost someone dear at a young age or suffered like my mother. It might sound grand, but I truly believed it was my mission. I worked hard towards becoming a doctor. I wasn't in a position to live a normal life. I couldn't ask my mother's relatives to pay for medical school, so I aimed to earn a scholarship with my grades. I'm aiming for first place in the finals. Of course, I'm planning on it too. I won't lose this time. We motivated and challenged each other. As a result, we consistently ranked at the top of our class and got into our first choice universities. I also received the scholarship I aimed for, which was a truly satisfying result. Though we parted ways, we still keep in touch and update each other on our lives. As a doctor and he as a lawyer, we continue to strive together. After graduation, I started working at a local hospital, excelling on the front lines as a doctor. This performance caught the attention of a university professor who reached out to me. So, I've been offered a position at a university hospital. I understand that a doctor's job isn't just about helping the patients in front of me. But, my reason for becoming a doctor was to help those immediate patients. I feel like this would deviate from that goal. I get what you're saying, but as a research doctor, you could potentially save thousands, even millions of future patients. Something you can't do as a clinical doctor. Well, that's true. If your goal is to help people, then you don't need to be particular about the method. You should fully utilize your abilities where they're needed most. Hearing his words, I decided to work at the university hospital. Looking forward to working with you. I'm really glad you decided to join. Let's work well together. Working as a researcher is different from working as a regular doctor. That's why I knew I needed to keep my focus and work hard. Every day was new and challenging, but it was a tough life. Hey, are you the new doctor? Haven't seen you around before. One of the nurses, Jessica, spoke to me. I joined a little while ago. I'm currently working as an assistant to Professor Johnson. Oh, so you're one of Johnson's connections? He's pretty lenient with his inner circle. Did you get in through connections too? Well, in a way, yes. I was recommended for this position, but I haven't proven myself yet. If that's the case, it's good manners to introduce yourself to everyone working here, don't you think? Not doing so would tarnish Professor Johnson's reputation. I'm very sorry. We may be nurses, but if you look down on us or underestimate us, you'll have a problem. Of course, I never look down on the nurses. Nurses have their unique roles, and hospitals couldn't function without them. They are just as important as doctors. Knowing this, I tried to treat everyone at the hospital with respect, but maybe I wasn't coming across well. I was still a newbie, and although I didn't get this job through connections, it was true that I was working here because of Professor Johnson's recommendation. Remembering my position, I knew I needed to be more humble. Teamwork is essential not only in hospitals but in any workplace. So, I changed my attitude. Good morning. What? Why did you come early? What are you doing? I was helping with the cleaning so that everyone can work comfortably. We have cleaners. But I think it's important to feel like I'm also taking care of this hospital since I use it too. Just so you know, trying to get on our good side by doing janitor work won't earn you any points. It's not that easy to get recognized by the people working here. It's not that I was trying to get on their good side. Of course, I didn't want to be disliked either, but Jessica was particularly harsh towards me. I didn't know her past or why she disliked rookies like me, but her attitude towards me was very severe. She was friendly and smiling with others, and honestly, she was quite beautiful and well-liked. She was efficient in her work and admired by many, but she never warmed up to me, even after 6 months. However, others praised my daily actions, and I gradually gained recognition. Although my research results weren't significant yet, and I could have been criticized, I was often praised for working hard every day. Since I was still young, the older staff took a liking to me. One day, "Hey, are you free next Saturday? The nurses are planning a mixer and we thought you might want to join." "A mixer?" "Yeah, they said they're bringing some girls, so we need to bring 3 guys. What do you think?" "Well, I've never been to a mixer before, so I'm not sure if I can handle it. It's not a serious mixer, so don't worry too much. Besides, you hardly get a chance to meet girls with all your work, right? We're medical professionals, so we'll be popular. Just think of it as a casual party with some new people." "Well, okay." To be honest, I had never had a girlfriend and had always been focused on studying. I had never talked to girls much, let alone gone to a mixer. I was extremely nervous, but I didn't have the courage to refuse Emily's invitation. I didn't know what to wear or how the mixer would go. What if we had to pair up and talk to girls, or play a game, like a kind of embarrassing game? Not knowing anything about mixers, I prepared myself as best as I could, even though my preparation was more mental than practical. Being prepared makes a big difference. The more I acknowledged my nervousness, the more nervous I became. Using my medical knowledge, I tried to calm myself down. Emily invited me in the morning, but I couldn't focus on work at all that day. We headed to the venue together, and it was clear how nervous I was. Emily reassured me, and when we arrived, "What? Emily, is this the guy you brought?" "Sure, he's somewhat good-looking, but isn't there anyone better you could have brought?" "Well, it's not a serious mixer. I thought it would be nice to give him a chance to talk to some girls since he works so hard." "If you say so, Emily." Jessica was there, clearly unhappy with my participation, but it was true that Emily had half forced me to come. I was so nervous that I felt faint, so I didn't care much about her displeasure. We entered the restaurant and took our reserved seats. I ended up sitting at the far end, feeling my heart pounding throughout my body. After about 5 minutes, the other group arrived. They were all attractive, outgoing types. People from a completely different world, making me even more nervous, but Emily helped me manage. After the introductions, I couldn't bring myself to speak, but thanks to Emily and the others, the mixer was lively. As I started to relax and enjoy myself, "Ah!" a waiter's scream echoed through the restaurant, and the place fell silent. I glanced towards the waiter and saw a middle-aged man collapsed, foaming at the mouth. Everyone noticed, and the restaurant fell into panic. Even though we were medical professionals, none of us expected this. However, I had experience with emergency patients. I was the only one who remained calm, immediately getting up and going to the man. He wasn't completely unconscious, but was hyperventilating. "Call an ambulance immediately. And bring some water. Ah! Hurry!" Usually, I don't shout, but it's effective to snap people out of panic. Startled, the waiter quickly called the ambulance and brought water. I didn't know what was wrong, but I adjusted his position, checked his pulse, and administered first aid. Is there anything we can do? Find his companions and check his belongings. He might have a medical condition that will change how we treat him. Oh, okay. After a while, Jessica and others started to help. The man had a pre-existing condition that caused the attack. Fortunately, I had treated patients with this condition before, so I focused on keeping him conscious until the ambulance arrived. The ambulance came quicker than expected, and he was taken to the hospital. I went along to explain his condition. After arriving at the hospital, I left everything to the medical team. Exhausted, I sat down in the hallway. Then, "Are you okay?" "We just got to the hospital." "How is he?" "He's fine. There's no immediate danger, and he should recover with proper treatment. The doctors are taking care of him now. So there's no need to worry." "That's a relief. But I was surprised by how quickly you reacted. I've handled emergencies at my previous hospital, so I didn't panic. It's normal for a doctor to be prepared for this. We've studied hard to save lives." When I said that, she fell silent. I wasn't trying to boast, but it might have sounded like I was blaming them for their delayed reaction. Honestly, I didn't have the mental bandwidth to be that considerate, so I regretted not choosing my words more carefully. "You're right. I'm sorry for always being cold and accusing you of getting in through connections. Compared to you, we couldn't do anything. If you hadn't been there, I don't know what would have happened to that man." "That's not true. Nurses save countless lives every day. Don't downplay that. Also, it's understandable to be shaken if you're not used to dealing with emergencies. But the fact is, I was the most shaken and couldn't do anything. That's something I need to work on, and I genuinely feel that way." Her words showed her genuine dedication as a nurse. Someone working just for the money wouldn't say such things. "You're really serious about being a nurse?" "Of course. That's why I didn't like you." "What? Why didn't you like me? Because you were serious about being a nurse?" "I also worked at a small clinic. I became a nurse because I lost my grandfather in a car accident when I was little. His life could have been saved. But it wasn't. I don't blame the medical staff at the time, but I wanted to prevent others from experiencing the same pain." "I see. I'm sorry to hear that." While our experiences weren't identical, she had gone through something similar. If she pursued nursing for that reason, it's the same for me. I didn't want others to suffer like my mother or end up lost like me, so I became a doctor. But why did that make you dislike me? Working at a small clinic limited what I could do. I had to make connections to climb up to this university hospital. So, I didn't have a good impression of someone who seemed to get in easily through Professor Johnson. I understand. If I were in your position, I wouldn't have a good impression either. But I have my own goals. Helping people directly is part of a doctor's job, but developing new medicines and treatments can save thousands, even millions, in the future. That's why I wanted to work with Professor Johnson. You're more committed than I am. That's truly impressive. I respect you." It was the first time she had said something positive about me, despite working together and seeing each other almost daily. I was genuinely happy and felt a sense of mutual understanding. Working together, I never understood why she seemed to look down on me, but I could see how hard she was working. I was glad we had the chance to talk everything over because I never thought she was a bad person at heart. She turned out to be just like me. Someone who works tirelessly to save lives, regardless of status or money. I realized once again that I need to work as hard as she does. Let's continue working together and motivating each other. That's my line. Let's work well together. We completely reconciled and became friends, chatting every morning. We worked in different areas, so we didn't collaborate directly. However, we were both striving towards the same goal. It was the noble cause of saving lives that allowed us to encourage and elevate each other. How about we have dinner together sometime? Dinner? You haven't taken a break recently, have you? Focusing on research is good, but you need to rest a bit. Besides, I wanted to have a proper meal with you. Next Saturday is free, so that works. I was surprised by the sudden invitation, but from that moment, I began to see her as more than just a colleague. Of course, she might see me as just a workmate, but for someone like me with no prior experience with women, being asked out to a meal was a huge event. Romance. Maybe two people with high aspirations understand each other. Oh, what are you doing here? You have great research skills, but no fashion sense. Get someone to help you with your outfit before your date. First impressions are crucial. Your usual lab coat look with a sudden stylish outfit will be irresistible. Professor Johnson. I was completely preoccupied with hiding my embarrassment at being overheard talking to her, but following Professor Johnson's advice, I decided to have one of my seniors check my fashion. As expected, my fashion sense was terrible, and I was really glad I got it checked. Meanwhile, my feelings for her kept growing stronger. Maybe she saw me as just a colleague, but on our third meal, she invited me to dinner, wearing a dress. I realized she might see me as a romantic interest too, and I confessed on our fourth date. We started dating. A year flew by, and we decided to get married. I was extremely nervous proposing for the first time, but she happily accepted. Looking forward to our life together. That's my line. I respect you deeply and am so glad we can get married. Thank you for proposing. When she said that to me, I blushed a bit. But I vowed in my heart not only to protect my patients' lives but to also protect her for the rest of my life. We had our wedding and started our married life, continuing our work, me as a research doctor and her as a nurse. I still support her every day in her efforts as a nurse, and every day feels fresh and enjoyable. I've managed to achieve some success as a research doctor and am now working hard as a promising researcher. Life is unpredictable. Each encounter can lead to unforeseen relationships, and the key is to live by your beliefs. Of course, you'll encounter people who don't get along with you. But you'll also meet people who recognize and support you. I plan to cherish those people and keep living my life true to my values.